Wyrmhall, Brush and Banter. So I mean, now that I've played through this, I really realize what the title was going after, because you play as an adorable little goblin, and adorable is gonna be a real overarching theme here, because it's got this really kind of minimal like art style, but it's definitely, you're in a fantasy setting. Wyrmhall is kind of like a transitional place, portal between worlds. So like, all kinds of wacky creatures just end up making residence there. So you take control of a kiosk, and what you do there, like any good kind of job simulator, is you clean magical artifacts.
Oh, okay. So that's what's going on here in the B-roll.
Yeah, exactly. So not quite like some of your other hilarious quote unquote simulator games. This one has a really great story, and it's about as mature as a pop-up storybook, which is
Okay.
both good and bad. Just depends on what you're into. Not too serious. Definitely kind of like fits that cozy game kind of category, because like you're not stressed out.
Cozy
you're not trying to execute things. It's like it'll throw some surprises at you, because it's hilarious the way that characters are kind of written into and out of the story. They kind of just show up, need something cleaned, and you clean it, and then they're on their way. But the characters are all really like memorable, and there's a lot of surprises like in the writing, like, oh wow, this is cool, like I'm feeling something, I'm being gripped by this. Fun little story that like I would totally read to children or experience with them in that kind of fun way, where it's like something pops up, oh, I'm surprised, what just happened?
That sounds pretty awesome. Very immersive, sounds like.
Yeah, actually, and surprisingly so. So there's not a lot of stuff to unlock, and not really like robust mechanically, but there's a lot of, again, it throws little curveballs and twists at you during the gameplay, like, oh no, this item will be damaged in some way, like it's a bubble or it'll crack, and sometimes you have to kind of hand in your cleaning work. It tells you in the beginning it's okay to be, you don't have to be perfect, because if you try to be perfect, it'll get in the way of you being finished, which is like total life lesson. But yeah, there's no like, the developers didn't think it needed to be a roguelite, like you don't need like menus or like items, like you don't find things like that here. It's really just a cool story and like a fun little task that feels pretty rewarding, actually. It kind of plays like a visual novel, and then you clean something and get it back to whatever weird owner showed up and handed it to you in the first place. But there's a lot of development as far as the story goes, but decisions like minimal, not really, especially since one of the last games I reviewed was like Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's like making decisions in this game, not a lot of weight to it.
I would imagine it looks pretty low stakes from the visuals. I would imagine it, from how you're describing it, the gameplay feel is also relatively low stakes. So I would only imagine that it just follows the nature of the game and that low stakes feeling. But I gotta just ask, does it compromise the fun?
To an extent, I would say that is exactly where your mileage may vary. Like my fun definitely came from the writing, and the tasks are okay. It's like I don't usually, like, I wouldn't pick out and buy a game where I'm like about cleaning stuff. Like, as cool as Power Wash Simulator looks, like that might boil down essentially to like what you're gonna do and how much fun you're gonna have. It's pretty cool. I was swept away by the writing mostly.
Okay.
But
that sounds pretty good.
But at the same time, like I was also very surprised by I guess gimmicks that the gameplay actually did, where I was like, okay, I didn't see that coming. Now I have to do this on a time limit, like the way that kind of shows up. Or like
Okay.
now I need to clean this object, but it's moving.
Oh,
And,
all right.
yeah, like little things like that where it's like, okay, you got me. Like I'm into it. This is fun. I had a great time playing this.
Hey, well, sounds like it clearly had a great time, and it
Yeah.
sounds like there are nice little twists on the formula once it nestles you into its gameplay loop. So, Wyrmhall, Brush, and Banter. Before we wrap everything up, put a nice little bow on this. What do you think overall, like of the overall package? Like, let's talk length to fun to like creativity and like engagement. Like, were you engaged the entire time? How long did it take you? And like, were you having fun the whole time? Or was there points where you're like, oh my god, like, can this end? Because I gotta admit, Drix, I'm watching this B-roll, right? And I'm thinking to myself when I'm seeing like this one right here, this orb, man, some of that stuff, like crevices and things like that, this looks like it can get meticulous. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, does at any point does this get, oh my god, like I wish this was just over, or were you pretty much having fun through the whole time?
No, I was definitely having a good time the entire time. It kept me guessing enough so that, yeah, I really was surprised and engaged, and it didn't feel tedious. Like crafting in Kingdom Come definitely felt more tedious. But yeah, you kind of do a nice job and have a good time. But it was all in all pretty short experience. I kind of got to the credits and I hadn't played it entirely for 4 hours yet. It was like 3.8 hours. But we were talking about this before the show. I think what compensates for that is the price tag. I mean, it's $10 not on sale.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah,
it's actually on sale right now. So go on and pay that a visit if this sounds up your alley.
Well, yeah, for $10, and like I said, I got to admit, again, watching the B-roll, looking at like this claw thing, I actually think is the perfect example of like the idea you're trying to get at. The idea you're trying to get at in that, like, look at this dude who's like giving you the claw. He looks cool. He's like a little spider guy in a cloak. The claw itself as an artifact is interesting, and how you have to clean it and move it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if there's twists on that formula, like it's moving or like it's like, you
can't touch this.
Right.
Don't touch this part. It's got an eye. Don't let the eye make eye contact with you while you clean it. Like, it's too magical. It'll actually hurt. Like, it's pretty cool. Like,
that is cool.
Some pretty cool little gimmicks, little treats. I really kind of fell in love with the cat boss character the most, because he's not your manager, but he owns the stand, and there's a couple little interesting dynamics. You're actually a female goblin. You play as a female goblin, but she's got a little brother, and he'll come and bother you, and sometimes there's even one level where somebody's like pesky and like messing with your tools, and I'm like, hey, get out of here. Like, what are you doing? I'm trying to clean this. And you're just, some snot-nosed little kid. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's again, just really kind of surprising. Like the kind of laughs that it throws at you.
Got a lot of charm.
Level. Yeah, charm. That's the word for what that is. I was charmed. I was immersed.
And again, the visuals absolutely look charming. Look at this. This is another great example. This artifact has a really cool design. And look at that little ghost with glasses. Funny as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, the way they draw the goblins, and it's definitely to like maximize cuteness, even with the kind of like minimal art style. But I really felt like I was about to unfold the page of a book, and like one of these little characters was about to pop out.
So tons of personality, kind of short, but it's got a little short price tag, low price tag to compensate for its short run time. Sounds like there's enough little twists to keep you engaged for the whole time. Drix, I want to know, what is the final score out of 5?
I do like some more robust games, but I got to give this one a solid, very, very solid 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. That's what you're here for. CFM Radio, Game Review, Wyrmhall, Brush and Banter. It's out right now on Steam, and I believe that's the only platform it's out for currently. But again, definitely a charming little game. Look at these character designs. They're so great. I don't think I've seen one that I don't like. And on top of it,
great character design, great writing.
And on top of it, it is definitely, like you were saying, Drix, one of those cozy, sounds like it lends itself to being a cozy game, 3 hours, 4 hours might not be...
Yeah, it's a nice rainy day.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm trying to get at. It might not seem like, oh, this is like the most hardcore game, or, this is one of those games where you might not want to equate value to runtime, right? Because if you really do enjoy the writing, the game is clearly going to sweep you off your feet. But if it doesn't click with you, then you're probably not going to be into it. I definitely don't think that if you're not into this aesthetic, like you're saying, this pop-up book aesthetic, then I don't think this is going to be the game for you.
Yeah, there might be something free to play that you could be putting hours into.
Yeah. Wyrmhall, Brush and Banter, 3 out of 5. CFM, clusterfuckedmedia.com, official review. Thank you very much, everybody, for checking it out. And if you want a rainy day game, or you just want a game that you could beat in an afternoon, right? Just a quick little charming experience. This looks like it fits the bill to a T.
Yeah, 4 hours you might just remember for a lifetime.
Indeed.